Hello, boys and girls. You are now watching Peter's Raw Recap. I'm Peter, if you haven't already guessed that. And Raw just went off the air. A Raw that was really good in San Jose, California. And San Jose, good job, guys. Probably, I would say the hottest crowd so far this year. Um, I don't know what the hell is in the water over there. Maybe because it was early. I don't know what the hell. But that entire crowd was just on fire from the opening segment all the way. And you would think they would be like out of it. 3 hours is a long Raw. And it caught up with me. I only had like maybe 5 hours of sleep last night, and it caught up with me right around the second Divas match. But man, those guys, they were full of fire. So yeah, it made it that much more enjoyable. And yeah, let's just go right into this shit. So it started off with Rollins. Rollins comes out with a new T-shirt that says "Never Shuts Up." And on the back of the shirt, it's like Cena sees knees. And I guess it's a way to market off what happened last week with Rollins busting up John Cena's nose with a good knee shot to the face. And he mentions it in his opening promo. And it gets a huge pop. And then chants of "Thank you, Rollins" are throughout the entire arena, which I felt kind of funny and kind of sad. I never really want to wish anyone to get hurt ever, especially like wrestlers. You know, I understand that Cena's been on top for too long and we get tired of the same shtick, Super Cena and all that stuff. But man, I can't wish harm on somebody. And I hope for a speedy recovery. Again, I'm not even a Cena fan, but to be happy that he's hurt is just a weird thing to me. But as he's cutting his promo, he's making excuses about tapping out. And those excuses being that, yeah, when I shattered his nose, I was being a humanitarian. The doctors came out and, you know, I slipped because I was worried about Cena's safety and I tapped out because, you know, I was the big man to let him win, and he still has his title. And to sort of make up for it, he right then challenges John Cena to a title for title match at SummerSlam. And on top of that, he's like, and if you're too chicken to show up, you may as well just forfeit. To anybody who maybe don't understand, when you're dealing with a broken nose, you're dealing with cartilage. So whenever someone gets a broken nose, it takes up a couple of days for it to heal up. And knowing Cena, he's probably going to get reconstructive surgery. So it's going to take a little bit longer. But yeah, I would say around the time that the go home show for SummerSlam arrives, he'll be fine. He won't be 100%. His nose won't be like entirely 100%. It'll be like 95%. But then Rollins goes off and offers a WWE World Heavyweight Championship Open Challenge to sort of mock Cena. Whatever you can do, I can do better. And he does the whole Cena spew. If you want some, come get some, because the champ is here. Challenger, at first, then, okay, so what happens is they get out of break, and then there's like stipulations to him defending the belt. He's like, they got to be under 6 foot, and they got to be under like 200 pounds or some shit like that. So everyone's like, Torito? And he's like, yeah, Torito, yeah, bring your ass out here, Torito. And next thing you know, it's Neville. And Neville gives an amazing performance. I mean, hands down. I would say even on the night, probably the best performance of the night. He went in like a fucking bat out of hell, and he gave Rollins a run for his cash, um, which results to almost two near falls. One was like a roll up, and the ref kind of gator armed that son bitch, um, and the crowd just got on that poor ref because it really, yeah, he totally gator armed it, and we all thought that Neville was going to come out of there with a victory. It was almost a botch by the ref, but hey. And then a second pinfall after an executed Red Arrow. He lands that bitch and he rolls him up, and you see, it's funny, it's a great shot. It's a great ploy because we're all fixated on the shoulders and the ref, but lo and behold, there's the foot on the rope. And I thought the foot went up late, but come to find out the foot was there the entire time in the roll up. So that was good production on the WWE's behalf. And he goes up for a second Red Arrow. He misses and loses to the Pedigree. But great way to start the show. The next match we get Los Matadores with the Lucha Dragons versus the New Day and the Ascension, which is a SmackDown rematch that didn't necessarily go the same way as SmackDown. SmackDown was more or less, there was dissension between the New Day and the Ascension. This match wasn't that at all. They didn't even poke at that bear whatsoever. You had the primetime players on commentary. It was a pretty decent match. It seems that Los Matadores and the Lucha Dragons work better together than against one another, because whenever they face each other, it is fucking just piss poor. Right around the end, Torito takes like a hellish bump. Just a fucking hellish bump. Which results in Kofi Kingston hitting the Trouble in Paradise and getting the pin, which again sets up their feud, or possibly number one contenders for the tag team champs, which are held by the primetime players. And again, they need to stop with the whole primetime. They've run out of ideas. It's not working anymore. Thus, they don't need to be out there just stinking up the joint. It happened once, and it was good. But just because it happened once, it's going to happen every time. And last week, and even this week, last Thursday on SmackDown, was kind of a waste. And then this time was even more of a waste because, in fact, it really distracted a really good tag team. 8-man tag team match. Up next, we got the Divas Revolution, Charlotte and Becky Lynch versus the Bella Twins. And we find out the new name for the new name for the 3-girl faction that is Paige, Charlotte, and Lynch. And they go by the Submission Sorority because all of them have vicious fucking submission holds. I guess this match is okay. It's kind of hard for me to take the Bella Twins serious while they're in the ring with Becky Lynch, but nevertheless, decent enough match. Charlotte actually gets the submission on Nikki Bella, which is surprising. Maybe they're going to set up that feud right away for the belt. But Nikki taps, and Charlotte and Lynch get the win. Lynch, she did a great job, too, by the way. Charlotte and Becky Lynch in the ring with the Bellas. It's just, I don't know. It's the Bellas. I'll probably get some hate on this because a lot of people love the Bellas. I just go, when you take these women with these this skill versus this sort of artificial thing with the Bellas, it doesn't add up to me. It's hard for me to believe the Bellas Lynch and Charlotte are selling to the Bellas. They wrestle circles around them. And then we get to Miz TV, and he actually starts off because he's probably one of the, if not the most effective heel in the company. He starts off in a babyface way by calling not only his show the second most must see show, he also gives Piper the respect by saying that without Piper in the Piper's Pit, there would be. He goes through the list of shows after his Razor's Edge, the whatever, all the rest of them, whatever. I'm a little tired, but anyway, he gives a shout out to Roddy Piper, which I thought was pretty cool. And this Miz TV is basically a face-off between Kevin Owens and Cesaro, and Kevin Owens gets out, starts it off, and then Cesaro comes out in a fucking sick suit, dude, and they have a great back and forth, which makes this is a really good rivalry, must say. They still fail to bring up the fact that Kevin Owens has a clean win over Cesaro from 3 weeks ago on SmackDown, but they go back and forth, and Cesaro calls Owens an embarrassment for always walking out of his matches. Walk, Owens, walk. That looks like they're trying to get that up, which results to a stare down. It looks like they're about to get to it. Cesaro takes off the shirt. He gets the man going. And Owens walks out, only to return because Miz gets kind of distracts Cesaro, which results in them getting busted with a chair. And before Kevin Owens can actually get the advantage, Cesaro gets him in the big swing position, which Owens fights out of and escapes. And that was the end of that segment. As Cesaro is in the fucking ring, place is going fucking nuts. We got Rusev versus Mark Henry, and I will say it was quick work with Rusev for Rusev, and it's funny because he didn't win with the accolade. He actually won with 2 super kicks to the face, which resulted to a third super kick after the match was done. And I could go on for days. I could actually do an entire podcast on the mistreatment right now of Mark Henry and his character. But I'll just say this. To the capacity of which Mark Henry has been used ever since Survivor Series last year, it's a total shame. It's a shame to fame. It's a fucking shame. Mark Henry's better than that. He is. Like, I still see him as a fucking ass-kicking machine. That music hits, somebody's gonna get their ass kicked, the place pops like crazy. Because it's still believable. But for some reason, the WWE has just thrown up their hands. Since the Cena feud, the Sam and Cena feud, it's sickening. Mark Henry deserves better than that. He's a veteran. And he's still a believable ass-kicking machine. But he's been jobbing out left and right, made to look like or to make everyone else look strong. This isn't the first time Rusev and Henry met up. And and Henry put up more of a fight, but for some fucking reason, you get Jack Swagger, who's been having his ass handed to him over the past couple of months by Rusev. All of a sudden, Thursday, he's like super fucking Swagger. And then you give Mark Henry, who actually did a better job against Rusev, and he fucking goes out like a fucking bona fide jobber. It just blows my mind. He's better than this. Granted, they're trying to build up Rusev. But you could throw anybody in that spot. And why not give fucking Mark Henry, not saying give Mark Henry a push, but if you're going to use him at that fucking capacity, just keep him off the fucking TV. I don't want to see that shit. A lot of people don't want to see that shit. WWE, you're dumb as fuck for that. And I'll leave it at that. We get a Bray Wyatt Harper package in the back, and Sheamus shows up, which I thought was pretty odd. You get King Barrett versus Zack Ryder. Quick work, bullhammer. Barrett gets the win. And then we finally get the moment of the night where we see Brock Lesnar. And I did a podcast earlier, the New Day podcast with me and Nathan Newman, um, at Headliner 5 on Twitter, and I guess bold prediction was that Brock was going to actually talk, but nope. He comes down to the ring. He grabs the steel steps, throws the top of it in the ring. He stands on top of it as Heyman gives an amazing promo. I mean, I'm not going to suck his dick about his promo. We all know what he's fucking capable of. But, I guess it's the thing now to fucking sing his praises and lick his balls because he's an amazing promo. And I'm not saying this, but each time that Heyman gives a promo, everyone it's the same thing said. I'm just like, well, right now, yes, it's amazing, but yeah, what the fuck did you expect? A shitty one? Oh well. But basically, it was really good. I almost thought he was gonna have a heart attack. It was like hell and brimstone, fire and brimstone, to the point where I was thinking he's gonna have a fucking heart attack in the ring. That's how much he was passionately into this promo, and that was it. They just flew Brock in. He cashed a check. Just stand in the middle of the ring on top of the steel steps. I guess that's the way you have it. You got Paige versus Naomi. Another shame of a talent. I think Naomi is, and since she lost, as I was saying, ever since she's faced Nikki Bella for the belt and lost, she hasn't really been doing that hot. Yes, she's in that little faction, BAD, Bad, Beautiful and Dangerous, with Tamina and Sasha Banks. She's not necessarily the strong link of that faction, and it is all about Sasha Banks. But to the capacity they can use her, very much like Mark Henry, they don't. I don't know whether it's they just lost faith in her. Her character has changed up a lot since, I guess, quote unquote, like the official heel turn. It's just sad to see because she is someone I put up there in the ranks of Lynch. To be a real part of the Divas Revolution. With her just natural ability, talents, and athleticism, and how she picked up on the craft of wrestling so fast that, yes, I see her as definitely in that group of NXT, the NXT girls coming up to the main roster. But, hey, WWE sees it another way. She's still in a good spot. I ain't taking nothing away from that, but I just don't see her winning any matches anytime soon. Not at this capacity that they're using her. Next up, we get the Ambrose Reigns package, and then Orton shows up, very much like they did with the Wyatts and Sheamus. And then we get to our main event. And you know what? The crowd is still crazy. I forgot to even mention, around the time of that Paige Naomi, I started to fade. And it wasn't because the match was boring. It was actually a pretty decent match. It's just 3 hours, man. It really caught up with my ass. Man, if they can only go back to 2 hours, that would be so great. But anyway, we get Ambrose, Reigns, and Orton versus the Wyatt family. Well, we get Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper with Sheamus. And it's like, let's replace one redhead with another. You got... they're without Rowan. They're without Rowan, the resident redhead of that group, and now they replaced him with Sheamus. So it's just funny, and the funny beard. But the match starts off slow. The crowd is still into this shit, but the last 2 minutes pick up like you wouldn't believe. It's just total chaos, and it ends with Reigns getting the pin on Sheamus via spear. But yeah, everyone fucking just goes ballistic at the end, and the crowd, I swear to God, is deafening. Again, kudos to you, San Jose. A lot of us ain't seen a crowd that fucking rabid in quite some time. You dudes came through tonight, and it made for even much more a good show. So kudos to you. That's how the show ends. The baby faces are standing tall while the heels um, lick their wounds and walk to the back. And that concludes Peter's Raw recap. The full review will be this Wednesday. Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling. I think it will be episode 49. 3 more weeks until the 1 year anniversary of Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling podcast. So I hope you tune in. It's going to be a special day. Today I did a podcast with Nathan Newman again, the return of the New Day podcast. My last name being Day, his first name being my first name. Oh, God damn it, my last name being Day, and his last name being Newman. So we're the New Day, New Day, New Day rocks. And we've been on hiatus for quite some time, but 2 months later, we're back. This week, we're gonna change. It's gonna be like more like on Mondays now. Every week on Mondays, like a pre-show, and then we're gonna talk about the week prior, ROH, Lucha Underground, NXT. But not review so much, just conversation. And another news related topics. Today we talked about Hogan, and we talked about Piper, and then we went through the gauntlet of wrestling promotions that happened that past week. And so yeah, check it out. It's uploaded now. If you're on YouTube, it's a video back. So check that out. It's also on Stitcher. It's also on Tumblr, SoundCloud, pjtwcentral.com. Be sure to bookmark that. Every month, Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling, Peter Talks SmackDown, the New Day podcast, the return of the New Day podcast. Those will be up weekly. And PJTW Central, that is the Twitter account. Hit that subscription button, share, like, thumbs up, leave a comment, ask a question. I appreciate your time, appreciate you checking this out, and I appreciate all the support. Almost a year you've been supporting the Peter Talks madness, whether it's Peter and Jake Talks Wrestling or Peter Talks SmackDown. I do appreciate it. And have yourself an amazing evening. Peace.